Good morning. Well, is it morning? Because it's actually dark. And that means it's night time as far as I'm concerned. This is artificial light from the Saltash Tunnel. So, now it's night time. What I'm thinking of doing, considering some neighbours of mine turned around and said, his wife said she thinks I'm an angel. What a lovely thing to say. I'm sure at times people would have disagreed. And I'm thinking of doing maybe like a Prius talk. And they want some advice on stuff. And I was thinking of maybe holding like a Prius talk to sort of whittle away the long drive to my client. So, like a TED talk, but in a Prius. So a Prius talk. Because I've been around a lot, I've experienced a lot, and I just want to sort of do things to help people. So, because it's quite hard sometimes. Now, today I thought I'd do the Prius talk on mental health, because it's a big thing at the minute, isn't it? Mental health. You've had Brittany's dad turn into a bit of a loon. I think he's the one who needs some mental health. And I remember when she first got taken in by the AMBO and it was all on the news. And I said then to whoever I was with, whatever girlfriend that was at that time, I said I think she was nobbled. So nobbling is when you drug a horse, so you'd fail his test. Pardon me, I said she was nobbled. So if you had an illegal substance put in a drink and you didn't expect that illegal substance to be there, that will cause some pretty upsetting and distressing emotions, feelings, actions coming through your body. So for those of you that may have done a drug, just imagine for a minute having that drug and not knowing that was going to happen to your body. And I always said then, I think they did it deliberately. There's always the financial reason to do a lot of things. Was it jealousy, money, and there's another one in there, greed or something? That would come under the money side of it. So anyway, today in the Prius talk, I want to talk about mental health. Now, obviously, being the age I am, and mental health as a bloke, you don't talk about. You don't cry, you don't talk about your emotions, you don't show any emotions. Well, that's what my father was like, and that's just the way he was. I thought I was called Boy for the first 15 years of my life. Didn't know I had a real name. So it's kind of something that's come about now that people are a lot more open and talking about their lives and their emotions at the time, because there are so many things that influence your emotions, so many things, and so, sometimes you won't be able to put a finger on it, but being able to turn around to your partner and say, a bit depressed today, there might not be a reason for it. It could be a diet, it could be something that's triggered a memory, a smell that's triggered a memory, it could be anything. But to have that ability to say to your partner, feel a bit depressed today, and then hopefully if you have a partner like mine, you can bounce off each other. And I turn around to my partner and say, oh, you alright? She's like, no. What's the matter? A bit depressed, a bit down. Oh, why is that? Don't know. Now, they like to put labels on stuff now. When I was a kid, half of the labels didn't even have a name. Or if they had a label, they were just a theory in a paper somewhere. They weren't actually in the sort of realm of communications between other people. Whereas now, a lot of these things are. You've got the ADHDs, you've got extra chromosomes, autism, spectrums of autism, and I think we've all got a little bit of something different, which is what makes us great. I think it's fantastic. We all have the ability to be a human being, a Homo sapien, and yet, holy shit, are we different. Like, on every level, sizes, colours, races, religions, feelings, strengths, weaknesses. It's just absolutely amazing. And yet we begin our lives in the Western world if we take our children, our mini humans, and we put them in a room with a giant human, and the giant human has to teach 30 odd mini humans who are individuals a way of having skills for the world in which they are having to live. Now, even when you just say it like that, it sounds absolutely crazy. And if you don't fit into the programmable box, you leave school with nothing. I had the amazing schooling that I was taught. So I couldn't put things on paper, which I've spoken about before, which is really weird, because I said about the story when I first went into a bank, and they gave me this paperwork to fill in and said, can you fill in this application for a bank, blah blah blah. And the HOTS came up on me. So there's an emotion, HOTS I call it, when you flush. It's obviously anxiety, it's nerves. So I began to get anxious because I had my entire schooling given to me. You must write quickly, you have to write faster. And I would have my book thrown at me. I'm not marking that spider writing, and my book thrown at me, the exercise book, well, whatever, any other fucking book they had. So I couldn't get it on paper, and when I went to the bank, I honestly expected someone to stand behind me and say, hurry up please, Mr. Slot, we have to get this form in. And the lady just sort of gave it to me, and I just disappeared and sat on a chair and sort of looked round at people and did it, because I was in my own time, so it was neat and legible. And it was only when I wrote quickly it became a complete mess. So I filled the application form out, sort of went to said, oh, I've done it. She goes, oh, okay then, thank you. And that was a real switch in my world and my handwriting to the fact that that wasn't going to happen in life, and it just showed the mental effect. And I don't know, trauma, that's not fucking trauma, is it? Being blown up in the military, or a car crash, or relatives dying, that's a trauma, or having an illness, that's a trauma. But it obviously showed that there was some influence, negative influence by my teachers in trying to tell me to write quickly. And apart from that, it never really come up. And in later life, I write in capitals now. Everything I write is in capitals. I cannot write in small joined up writing, because I've wrote in capitals for so long, I can't do it now, which is bizarre. Now, going back to the mental health side of that, I was taught at school, which is why I've had such an amazing life so far, and it's just great, because I was taught, you know. I just wasn't taught how to get it on paper as quick as I could, because they haven't got time to spend with one pupil who can write slowly. The comment, highly intelligent, if he was a genius, if he could tell us what he knew, he'd be a genius. And my mum would be there all saying, well, can't you sit him in a room and just read out the stuff to him and then you write it? Oh no, we couldn't possibly do that. Oh, he's only got 45 minutes to do an exam. We couldn't possibly give him longer. No. So then you get marked for your life on a 45-minute exam, when really you should have had 4 hours to do it. Or that someone could have just answered the question. I mean, technology was pretty shit when I was at school. We did an oral French test on a cassette recorder, and you had to come in. That was it. It was already on. Cool, this is an old memory. You had to go in one of the little rooms at school, and they had a tape recorder on the table. So that's a cassette recorder, a little one, and it was on record. So that would be the play button and the record button, and then the pause button was on. And we had to come in, press the pause button, and then talk about ourselves in French. And one of the things we all put at the end of it was "Mon professeur pour français c'est comme Baldric," which is my school teacher looks like Baldric, because he looked like Baldric from Blackadder. So we all had this line that we'd learned, "Mon professeur pour français c'est comme Baldric," and we put that in there at the end, which he thought was really funny, in our French test, because we had to speak about our schools and shit like that, all in French. So of course that was great for me, fucking amazing, loved it, because I was speaking, and if I can speak, then that's great. If I can say something rather than write it down, I'm the happiest pig in poo. And in life, believe it or not, you do use your voice more than you use your hand, unless you're going to be an author or someone who fills in forms like that. Even today, I will write a page of A4. Okay? Now, if you said write a page of A4, I wouldn't be able to do it. Not just because I can't write anyway, but because my hands are shit. From nerve damage, what do they call it? Peripheral neuropathy. From the poisons I had. Check my other videos and you might find out why I had poison. Work though. So it's even worse now, and I can do maybe 4 lines and then it hurts. But who gives a shit? It doesn't matter, because I do, in my job, it's like a continuous 4-line hit, 4-line hit, 4-line hit, and filling in various boxes and stuff. So it's easy, it's lovely for me. And it has got me back in writing, because I never did any. Who writes? How many people write? And even now we're going to get tablets, so we won't even write it, we'll be typing it. So yeah, there were certain things at school that obviously played with my mental health, and I worry now about the mental health it's doing to school kids, where you get all these kids who are different, you put them in a room and you try and program them in one way. And teachers go to school and learn to program in one way. And I used to teach people to ride, so I've got 6 or 7 pupils riding 6 or 7 wild beasties in an arena. If I was lucky to have a menage or arena or a school, sometimes it was a beach or a field, and you'd be trying to control the horses with them, and it's great fun. I tell you what, that's teaching. Sitting kids on a chair and teaching, or sitting them on a wild animal and teaching. Yeah, I think I can guess who had the easier one. But that was 6 people, so you had the ability to switch and change and pick the individual to the animal, or try to, or switch halfway through. You get off that, you get on that. Oh, again, yeah, get on that. And that was good, because sometimes you'd see someone having difficulties on a horse, and it's the same bloody horse, the same size rider and everything, and yet you take that person off the horse and you swap them over and it's cool. But anyway, I wanted to talk about mental health. So, schools are playing with our kids. I'm sure there's amazing teachers out there and do their best, but the workload, the programming that they do, it's not good, it's not healthy. It's not healthy. Not healthy, which is why the parents are there, hopefully, to teach their kids. I think the only reason why I didn't like school was I had maybe 2 teachers I didn't like, but I didn't hate them. I kind of understood then they had 29 pupils or whatever it was, 30 pupils in a room. They didn't have time. And if I'm told I've got to do my exams at the end of the year in a 45-minute test, they would put pressure on me to write quickly, because that's how I got my that's how you get your GCSEs or A-levels or whatever it was. GCSEs it was. So of course they're going to push me. Now, didn't help. It didn't get me my test, because I still couldn't write quicker, and if I could write quick, then of course it was unlegible. So yeah, a little bit strange. So my schooling did sort of have an effect on my mental health, but all the time I was at school I was doing extra stuff out of school. At 11 years old I did my BHS road safety, my British Horse Society road safety. exam. So I'd have to take a horse out, ride it, and they would have people around the route we took, and we had to ride past them, and then they would mark us on how we took a corner, our road knowledge, and whether we were safe on a horsey. And then we were allowed to take a horsey out on our own. So it was a big rite of passage to be able to pass your road safety. 11 years old I passed my first test. And then it just continued, and it's kind of it was great for me to be it was great for me to be in charge of an animal passing a test rather than sitting in a controlled environment with a pen and a bit of paper. Tape recorder was okay, but to be able to do something physically, great. That's how my brain worked, you know. That's what I was good at, you know. I can get in any machine and operate it, although I've lost my excavator skills because I drove JCB diggers for so long and the levers are different. Although there are operators out there who can switch like that, and I have no idea how they can do it. How they can hop in the JCB digger 180 and use it, and then they can jump in an excavator and use that. Whereas I get in an excavator, I pull the lever that way and the bucket goes whoop and I drop it. So yeah, but I mean, give me a JCB and I'll play with it all day. But everything like that mechanically I can pick up really quick, because that's what I'm good at. Instead of at school throwing me book at me, they should have been saying, well, they should have been saying, what do you want to do? At which point I'd have said an actor, because that's all I wanted to do. And I've done a little bit of background work, which is great. If you watch Extras, it's fucking just like that. It's so funny. Except you get cold sometimes. And they all laughed at me one time when I went on a shoot, and I had this huge woolen blanket, like a really posh, it was Dutch, I think, and I wrapped myself up in this blanket. And then everyone was like, they were like, oh, what you put a fucking blanket for? You're going to be having a sleep. Yeah. So anyone who's done film work knows, hurry up and wait. That's what you do in acting. Hurry up and wait in filming. So quick, come on, we got to get there. They've got to shoot, and then you have to wait around because they go, oh, light, cloud, stuff like that. So hang on, there's a gap. Okay, ready. So yeah, so I've never been stopped. I think that's what the school instilled into me. You know, if you try hard, you can do whatever you want. Well, that is true, and it's not true. I've just been stopped yet again from getting in the police force because now they want to look at my GCSE results. I'm 46 years old. They want to judge me on whether I'll be good for the role of a police officer on an exam I took that I couldn't really take because they didn't really allow me to take it. So that's kind of annoyed me a bit. But as people are saying to me now, you're too good for the police. How bad is that? Too good for the bloody police. Now, again, mental health for the police force. I think this is the perfect face for the police force and mental resilience. Look at that gobshite who just fucking has nearly single-handedly destroyed the image of the Met Police because he fucking used his position as a police officer to rape and kill someone. What a fuck. What an absolute fuck. I don't think we should hang people because I think we should make them suffer. And if that's someone who certainly needs to suffer. So, on you go, mate. I don't really want to go fast, so you can keep going. Oh, I fucking hate people like that. You know, why didn't you just accelerate and then go? Instead of making me go fast and waste my fuel. How do we get rid of the wipes? There we go. Obviously get a new wiper. So, in your life, you're going to hit mental health battles. So, no matter what age you are watching this, you're going to have a flutter, a whoop in mental health. Now, is that because we don't talk about it enough? Because talking about mental health helps. You see these people who go to these groups for self-help. The most advice and help they're going to get is not going to be from someone who's trained for years on counselling. Now, if there are counsellors watching that, they probably won't like that. But I've spoken to many people, from cancer survivors to veterans, who go in a room with a counsellor, and there's always in the back of their mind, you have no fucking idea. No matter the intention, the expert training, the years of being a counsellor, in the back of that person's mind, you got no fucking idea. You're sitting there telling me things, but you have no fucking idea about what I'm going through. You have no idea about what I'm feeling. And this is always the thing. So my friend Bob, he's helping well, he's not now, he's on his way out. He was helping ex-servicemen, and this is a guy in his 80s who is still having modern ex-servicemen come and sit with him and talk. And they would just drink tea. And they would have a group. Oh, who is that, eh? Mr. Harris? Mr. Harris again? I hope he's alright. He knows because I'm on my way to work. Except I'm doing... I will answer it. Hello, mate.
Hello, I take it on your drive to work.
I am, and I'm also doing a GoPro video for YouTube on mental health.
At the same time?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you alright?
Go.
Are you okay?
Yeah, well, good. I'm just wondering about this fuel shortage. I'm all the way on the motorway yesterday. You know, services, no fuel.
Yeah.
About 6:30 last night, went down the road, went to Sainsbury's, no queue, filled up with fuel.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't had a problem.
No.
I mean, I filled up when it was kicking off, and I just drove home at like 9 o'clock, pulled into the station, got some fuel.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I always brim my Prius anyway. Plus, I'm getting a bit of cheap fuel from the scrappers.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'm all right for fuel, but everyone's going to be all right for fuel. They're just being dicks.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing is, I reckon they did it. Well, I reckon they did it to get rid of all the fuel in their tanks, ready for this E10, this new fuel.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
if you go back a few weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's me being a bit sceptical, but if you go back a few weeks, they're on about no revenue from the electric cars.
Well, yeah, that's why they want to do per mile.
Yeah.
But that's because they've built an economy on taxation of fuel.
Yeah.
So they're in the shit now because they don't want us to use fuel, but they want us to save the planet. But then they think, oh, hang on, we make billions out of fuel taxation. So, but my idea would have been hydrogen. Use hydrogen.
Well, I think electric's only going to be a stopgap. There already are hydrogen fuel cell cars out there.
Because the thing is, with hydrogen, you've still got the infrastructure of taxation and tanks and fuel setups and everything like that. Yeah. So you have an economy built on that. You know, you pay drivers to drive the hydrogen to the station.
Yeah. So with electricity, we don't have the infrastructure.
No. Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
You buy a new house now. Our property, we've got 100 amp fuse on the main. You buy a new house now, you've got 60 amp fuse.
Yeah, exactly.
Your shower's 50 amp. Yeah. So what it does, no gas boilers, you can't have a shower and cooker on because it prioritises.
Yeah.
So if your car's on charge and you put the cooker on,